Hello, a really short one just to thank all of you who have bought the new book because quite amazingly, that's the new book in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Quite amazingly, it's now number one. I mean, this is a proof copy, but it's available on Amazon, and it's now number one in Christianity books as new releases. It's number 4 in Popes, and number 21 in Christianity overall. So I don't know how many books are sold because I only get those reports about a month or two down the line. But thank you very much to everybody who's helped do that. And if that is sustained for the next few days and weeks, that would be even better. Aside from my own personal pride or money or anything like that, I think that this is really a good sign because this book is going to be a little bit like Vox's Jordanetics. All the fans of the grifters and the fake Catholics are going to try and pretend it doesn't exist. So the more you guys can do to spread it around, let people know about it, buy it, give it to friends, whatever. It's all helping, giving it more and more exposure. And the whole point of this, if you guys have been watching my videos for a while, you'll see that I've got a strategy for the reclaiming of the Catholic Church. I'm not just whistling Dixie. And you can see that it's bearing fruit already. Believe was a very short book, which has resulted in dozens of people writing to me that they've either converted or are in the process of converting, married as Catholics, and so on. And they're now even starting to form little communities. In Pennsylvania, there's a tiny little community starting to form. People actually moving there to be closer to other Catholics. And it's reclaiming the actual Catholic Church. It's also exposing the fraud of the Novus Orchians. This is all very much needed, especially in this day and age of, pedophiles trying to run the world. And I've been listening to the medieval history on on Authorized TV by Rachel Fulton Brown, and it's awesome. It explains a lot about the liturgy. It explains without a shadow of a doubt in a lot more detail than I've done here, and even in more detail to a certain extent from the liturgical side, certainly, than Rodney Stark does in his very excellent books. And keep in mind, Rodney Stark is not a Catholic, but he has explained how the monasteries essentially created Western civilization, saved Western civilization. And the monastery, Western civilization being Catholic, the monasteries being Catholic, that's what really created the West. And we're sort of entering a similar time to when Saint Benedictine created his rules and went off and created the first monastery. Because we are in such a degraded time, which is why they did that, by the way. And these little cloisters, these little monasteries, not only kept the tradition alive, but improved upon it, kept the texts, commentated on the texts, and so on, and civilized the world, certainly Europe anyways, and later by extension South America and so on. It's happening again. So becoming a hardcore Catholic, also known as sedevacantist or sedeprivationist by some people, is the way to go. And thank you very much for your support. It's very much appreciated. I know I'm a very abrupt and not necessarily charismatic character, so that's even more surprising. I write the books that I write, the non-fiction books that I write them kind of because I have to, and because I believe that they've got very important information which nobody else seems to have put together. The Face on Mars is about the original ancient history of humanity, I believe. Systema is about the martial art that I've found is the most effective of all the ones that I've tried, and I've been doing martial arts since I was 4 years old. And this book, Reclaiming the Catholic Church, is about the true reality of Catholicism and Christianity, and truth, ultimately. So that's it. I wanted to keep it to around 5 minutes. That is 5 minutes. Thank you very much once again, and keep supporting it and keep pumping it, because they are going to try and avoid it, shadow ban it, pretend it doesn't exist. People like Tate Marshall, who got retweeted by Trump. And don't get me wrong, it's a good thing that Trump retweets a supposedly nominally pretend right-winger kind of Catholic who's really a Protestant pretending to be a Catholic, and he's no Catholic at all because he keeps pretending the Vatican II is somehow valid, which it isn't. And anybody who doesn't outright call Vatican II heresy, which is what it is, or who outright doesn't call all those who keep promoting Vatican II a heretic, by canonic Catholic law, they themselves are excommunicated. So Taylor Marshall, E.M. Jones, the other guy, Michael Voris, all those guys, none of them are Catholic. They're pretend Catholics. And you say, oh, but I learned so much. Well, to make you feel any better, I learned so much from Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. And he was an absolute heretic who wanted to destroy the church. But I didn't know that when I read him. And in fact, what he read, The Phenomenon of Man, what he wrote rather, The Phenomenon of Man, was designed to infiltrate and destroy the church. Probably because I was so far outside of it, for me, it brought me closer to Christianity. So, the fact that E. Michael Jones might have been instrumental for you to get closer to Catholicism, or that Michael Voris might have done so, or that Tate Marshall might have done so, whatever, doesn't mean they're Catholic. You could become closer to Christianity, to Catholicism, because you understand the nature of evil. That was part of, although my specific pivotal point was a road to Damascus moment, in the details when I started to observe and study and learn about this stuff, the realization of the nature of evil was certainly instrumental in putting me a lot closer to being a Christian, very much closer. So don't confuse how you get to where you're going with it necessarily being the correct and only or right path. It isn't. It very often isn't. So that's it. That's my few words, and I've gone over the 5 minutes, as I tend to do. Have a good night.